Welcome to the Macke Makerspace. Hi, I'm Brother Bob Macke, the curator of meteorites at the Vatican Observatory. And for today's project, I'm going to do a three-way mashup. The first point of inspiration comes from the wizarding world of Harry Potter. I want to make a wizard's wand, but not just for any old wizard. Today, it's all about space wizards. As Ollivander reminds us several times, every wand has two important components, the wood and the core. So for the wood, where am I going to find a magical tree in space?
I'm Groot.
Oh yeah, Groot. In the film Avengers Infinity War, Groot uses his arm to make the handle for Thor's axe, Stormbreaker. And so I'll use that handle as inspiration for this part of the design. Now the second component is the magical core. And in the wizarding world, that comes from a magical creature. But in the world of space wizards, the Jedi use kyber crystals. These things resonate with the Force and are used to power lightsabers. So we're going to use that. And since we can't see the core inside the wand, I'm going to suggest it by the form of the handle. So smashing Harry Potter into the MCU and Star Wars? What could possibly go wrong? Let's get started. I started with a model of a lightsaber I found on Thingiverse. And I'm going to sculpt the rest in Blender. This is actually the first time I've used Blender to make an object for 3D printing, so let's hope it works out. I created a rod for the wooden part of the wand. And with the sculpting tool, I'll start deforming it to make it look more organic and to make it look like there are branches wrapped around various parts of the saber. Blender has some amazing features, but it is free to download and use. There's a bit of a learning curve to it, but there are also lots of video tutorials online. Here, I'm expanding the branches over the end of the saber hilt. Now to give everything a little twist right at the connection point. I had some trouble turning that model into a 3D printable object, so I started over with a different saber hilt. I like this design a little better anyway. I scaled it so it just fits on the print bed, and I sliced it with 0.1mm layer height. It's off to the printer. And here's the final print. I'm not really satisfied with it. The seam across the top is a little too visible. It's a little short for my taste, and the handle is a little too small for my grip. So I'll tweak the design in Tinkercad to make it bigger. I had to print it in several parts. There's a hole down the middle that will fit a 5mm dowel. That will give the wand structural integrity and help align the pieces. The printer didn't do a great job with this channel. I have to grind it a bit with my off-brand rotary tool so the dowel will fit properly. And all the surfaces need sanding. This might take a while. Once the sanding is done, the pieces get glued together. I'm using plastic model glue for this. A dowel will help align the pieces while the glue dries, and some flexible adhesive clamps will hold the pieces together for now. Now the glue is dry and the tape is off. Some more sanding is needed to make sure the ends are good and flat for final assembly. I'll also do a first pass at the seams while I'm at it. Now the wand can be fully assembled. Once again, this is done with plastic model glue. I'm going to try to fill the seams with putty. It was a great idea, but in retrospect, I probably should have done multiple applications. In the end, the seams were still quite visible. Now some more sanding. We can finally start painting. It gets a solid base coat of black for starters. Most of the metal bits of the wand get painted silver. I'm basing the paint scheme off Luke Skywalker's lightsaber. But a few details get a coppery gold. For the wood, I'm starting with a simple brown. It takes a steady hand to fill in all the details. After the base layer is down, it gets a wash to darken it a bit and to accentuate details. I'll do several layers of this wash until I'm satisfied. And then a light dry brush for some subtle highlights. And finally, a few touches of color on the lightsaber buttons. And that should wrap up the paint job. So this thing looks great, but is it any good? Let's find out. Tea, Earl Grey, hot. What is this, English breakfast? Oh well, close enough. Oh, that was fun, and I really like how this turned out. If I can figure out how to get past Gamp's law to replicate some proper Earl Grey tea, I'm sure to use this in some future videos. But that's all for now. See you next time. Mischief managed. I hope you enjoyed this video. If so, please like and subscribe and click that bell so you get notified when the next one comes out. Now, this channel is not sponsored by the Vatican Observatory, But for full disclosure, I do make use of their facilities and resources. However, the materials and tools come out of my own personal budget. The purpose of the Vatican Observatory is to be a sign to the world of the compatibility of faith and science, and it could use your support. If you'd like to support the work of the Vatican Observatory, or even just to learn a little bit more about it, there's a link in the description below. Thank you.